So Brent goes back out of the cave and eliminates any doubt I had about how stupid this chase is. He finds the gorillas all sitting around, confirming in case you doubted it, that the subway station is indeed right there, not more than a single giant leap from the road, and that the gorillas are supremely stupid.
The Sarge says to keep looking until we find them.
Well, you're accomplishing that nicely by walking a few steps off the road and then sitting down not 20 feet away from an obvious cave and then staying there long enough for your prey to discover the world-shattering truth, emote about it for a while, and then lay down and have a rest. It's like the tortoise and the hare, where they're both the hare and neither of them actually crosses the finish line. So Brent rushes back, wakes up Nova, and as they make their escape,
That hum. You hear it too?
okay, this has to be a record. He just remembered that he's being pursued by gun-wielding idiots, and not a minute later he forgets again. Oh yeah, I'm in mortal danger. Hey, what's that sound? As he slowly advances towards the humming, he quickly makes a whole bunch of wild assumptions.
Well, whoever, or whatever, something's guiding us. Whatever they are, they breathe air. Well, there's an intelligence working in this place. That's sound.
What is he basing all this on? A humming noise proves that the source is alive and breathes oxygen? That just sounds totally random. What if it's just some kind of electrical system that's still running? Okay, that sounds really unlikely, but this poster still looks like it fell off the wall just a few years ago. The fact that it turns off when he touches the ladder is mysterious. But how's that prove intelligence? Am I just not smart enough to understand the superior problem-solving skills of a man who stops for a breather in the wide open while being hunted, and who sits around alone in the desert until his water runs out? Why does he even need to comment at all? Is he trying to impress Nova with his deductive genius? Observe, Watson. The texture of the floor is an indication that it was recently trodden upon by a woman named Cindy. And these rock formations can only mean you are thinking about having chili for dinner. Even still, regardless of how dumb his conclusions are, he's talking to a man-animal. He might as well be explaining Newtonian physics to a goat. If he just took everything in silently, this scene could have been really captivating. So the two of them explore and find more wreckage of past civilization, and pass by a really obvious matte painting of a crashed bus. What, they didn't have the budget to go out and find an already wrecked bus in a junkyard and stick it on their set? Brent finds some really gunky looking water, and his amazing survival skills tell him to just reach in there and take a drink. Didn't this guy learn the first time? Okay, so he and Nova are about to move on when Brent is suspicious, but he gives it a try, and after deciding the water is good, he invites Nova to take a sip, and then tries to murder her! You know, tasting water isn't a very good indication of how safe it is. It could taste perfectly fine and still be full of bacteria or toxins, or even some kind of poison. Okay, I'll talk about the murder thing. Brent hears a weird ringing sound, and suddenly is overcome with the impulse to drown Nova. He manages to stop himself and backs away. If you're wondering why he tried to kill her, don't worry. There is an explanation, and it's incredibly stupid. Brent runs into the next room, which is some kind of chapel, and right at center stage is a big bomb with the Greek Alpha and Omega symbols. Some dude is praying before it, and then turns around and starts sending psychic messages to Brent.
What did you say?
I am freaking serious. In fact, he ends up in a room full of humans who are all psychic. Did you ever think about how in this universe the apes evolved the ability to think and speak, and wonder why humans didn't evolve too? Well, it turns out some of them did, or at least that's my guess. We don't really find out where they came from. You know what, movie? Now you're really starting to stretch it. Just because it's science fiction doesn't mean you can just toss more sci-fi fantasy concepts into the mix and have it work. Planet of the Apes only has two science fiction elements. Rapidly moving forward in time by traveling through space near the speed of light, which is consistent with theoretical physics. And apes evolving, which I don't know if you've heard of it, but there's this theory of evolution which is pretty big in the scientific community. Once you have these two concepts introduced, there's nothing left but character development and social conflicts. Psychic powers do not belong in this movie. It's like if they made a sequel to Sixth Sense, where Haley Joel Osment gets bitten by a radioactive spider. You know, it's like if they made a Minority Report sequel where Tom Cruise fights aliens. War of the Worlds doesn't count. Their telepathic messages are signified with little nods and subtle sound effects. It's rather effective, except for the fact that Brent has to telegraph everything they're saying.
Who are you? The only reality in the universe. Well, that's nice to know.
Weak. This little segment is nice, though.
Wait a minute! Stop it! I can't understand you. You're all screaming at me at the same time. I can't separate.
He's right. He has only limited intelligence. We should speak aloud. And
Just wanted to make sure everyone catches that. These guys are supposed to be super intelligent. After all, they've evolved past him. That, or they're just saying Brent is stupid in general, which I guess is pretty obvious by now.
You're lying.
Onion, no.
How are the psychics able to tell when I'm lying? Are you guys ready for number 3? Okay, here's my third major problem with this movie.
I was sent here on a rescue mission to find a fellow astronaut, Taylor.
Evacuate plot. Repeat. Evacuate plot. Storyline is irreparable. Why was Brent sent on a rescue mission? Think about it just for a second. In the first movie, Taylor and his crew were sent out on a mission that would take thousands of years. When they arrived, something went awry, and they crashed into the ocean. But how would Mission Control have any idea that anything was wrong when Taylor's ship crashed 2,000 years later? Oh, and I'm not done with this scene either. The psychics explain how they do speak on occasion.
When we pray.
When we sing to our God.
You mean that thing out there, an atomic bomb?
Another brilliant logical leap by Brent. You know, most Christian churches have a cross front and center. It doesn't mean people worship a piece of wood. It's just a symbol. 2,000 years ago, this guy was nailed to one, and people look to it as a symbol of the sacrifice and pain that he endured for us. It's not the cross itself that's glorified. It's the good that was born out of the suffering. A crucifix is an instrument of death, and so is a bomb. In this universe, bombs blew up the world 2,000 years ago. See a pattern here? Oh, but the crazy thing is, Brent is right. These nutsuits worship a bomb. Look at this. Even Brent is laughing at this concept. Come on, guy who wrote this. You already stuck one ridiculous religious parody in this movie. Do you really need 2?
Are we to understand that you were in the city of the apes?
Yes, 2 days ago.
2 days ago? What? Look at this sequence of events. He leaves in this truck. Zira arranges for him to escape, which he does, then gets chased. This is all in broad daylight. Not one of these shots is at night. He doesn't have time to rest. Then he ducks into the convenient cave. Are you telling me he was just sitting there in that one spot in open space for 2 days and the gorillas never found him? That's even dumber than I thought. Oh, and the psychics ask him about the apes, and after a little bit of torture, Brent admits he knows the gorillas are coming for them.
Are marching on your city.
How does Brent know this? He somehow overheard Ursus talking about how they're going to invade the Forbidden Zone, but he just landed on this planet. He doesn't know what the Forbidden Zone is. And with all his wandering through tunnels, he doesn't even know where he is. And when I say they torture him, I mean they do something or other that causes him to feel pain, and then bring Nova in and force him to strangle her. Oh, but first they make him make out with her for some reason. Now, this is kind of interesting when you think about it. Physically, it's a human causing a human to kiss another human, which is creepy enough. But when you think about it, it's a highly evolved humanoid causing a less evolved human to kiss a highly devolved humanoid with the intelligence of an animal. To scale, this is sort of like a human being forcing a monkey to make out with a fish. Now the Sorry, I just had a mental image of that. The psychics are afraid they can't beat the gorillas because, as they claim, the only weapons they have are illusions. Walls of flame and such. Yeah, by the way, that's what got Taylor earlier in the movie. Psychic powers. Conveniently, when they say they have no weapons, they forget that they can cause intense pain like they just did to Brent a few minutes ago, and they can force them to kill each other like they just did twice. They already demonstrated that they don't even have to be in the same room. The gorillas don't have a chance. All their stupid training they went through to prepare for an enemy they knew nothing about is doubly worthless when these guys can just will them to shoot each other. In fact, all this training just made them more effective at killing each other. How's that for irony? And then when the smoke clears and there's only one gorilla left, the psychics can just do that whole pain thing until he's subdued. How many plot holes can they cram into just one scene? So we see the apes arrive at nothing, and Ursus orders them to advance like they weren't doing that already, and all of a sudden they're confronted with a wall of flame and a bunch of apes being crucified. The dramatic horror of seeing apes being tortured to death would be really grim, but is greatly diminished by the gorillas jumping up and down and screaming. Zeus tells Ursus to put the apes out of their misery.
I can't order them to do what the lawgiver has forbidden. Ape shall not kill ape.
Okay, first of all, a military leader is lecturing the defender of the faith on ethics. And if apes have a code against killing apes, even out of mercy's sake, then this whole war makes even less sense. Remember, these apes are flabbergasted when a human can speak. In their world, apes are the only intelligent creatures. Everything else is an animal. So if apes don't kill each other, why do they even have armies? When they kill humans, they don't call it war, they call it a hunt. Apes hunt humans all the time, with no special training and no moral outrage from young chimps. No, these guys are heading out to war. That means intelligent enemies, and the only intelligent creatures are apes. And apes don't kill apes. See what I mean? On a similar note, why was Zeus so concerned about Ursus making martyrs of the protesters? A big statue of the greatest ape, the lawgiver, starts to bleed, and somehow this causes Zeus to figure out that it's all an illusion, and effortlessly rides through it, despite the fact that even the horses seem terrified of the big wall of fire.
Stupid animals. They don't have the brain to hold our illusions.
What? 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 Make sense, movie! How is the duration of the illusion determined by the viewer's intelligence? Just forget it. I'm already wasting a lot of brain power on this incredibly stupid story, and you know what? This is the breaking point. I just absolutely refuse to make sense of this. So after Zeus proves how stupid apes are by logically determining the nature of their clever illusion, they find the destroyed ruins of civilization. Great. The cave wasn't bad enough. Now I have to deal with the idea that in all these years, any ape could have wandered far enough and found wrecked skyscrapers as far as the eye can see. Then we cut to the psychics having a church service, and oh man is it painful. Have you ever had a bad church experience? Have you been to one that's really dry and boring? Or just one where everyone seems completely crazy? This is the worst of both of those. They just repeat these empty rhetorics and sing these incredibly bland hymns, and how long does the scene go on for?
Glory be to the bomb and to the holy fallout as it was in the beginning.
We get it! They worship a bomb! Let go of my sanity! I need that to not be crazy so much! Oh, and by the way, they also reveal themselves to the bomb by taking off their faces, which turn out to just be masks. They don't actually have any skin. This is actually kind of interesting. But I have to wonder why they bother wearing fake faces when they all look like that. Who are they hiding themselves from? They continue singing All Things Brain Beautiful, but replacing every odd word with bomb. Finally, the scene ends.
I'd like to thank you for your cooperation.
When may we hope to be set free?
You may hope whenever you please, Mr. Brent.
You know, I kind of like that line. Let's see how long before someone wrecks the whole scene.
How could we hope to let you go on the eve of war, Mr. Brent? You know too many of our secrets.
Effing brilliant, guys. If you didn't want him to know all your important secrets, why did you tell him so much? You even invited him to your church service to teach him all about your retarded culture. And worst of all, he wouldn't have known a thing if you hadn't lured him to your city with that loud droning sound. What was that even about? So they lead him to a jail cell where he's reunited with Taylor. Aha! So Charlton Heston will be in this movie after all. I guess he wasn't that picky.
God, Taylor.
There's a nice little reunion. I kind of wonder how Taylor is so clean-shaven, though. Are you telling me these guys have razors when they don't even have skin? Why'd they dress up Taylor all fancy and then not let Brent wear the outfit he had on just one scene ago?
Mr. Taylor, Mr. Brent, we're a peaceful people. We don't kill our enemies. We get our enemies to kill each other.
Number 4. Honestly, do I even have to comment on this? Is there even anyone in the entire world besides the writer who wouldn't think this is ridiculous? Well, evidently. I guess the producer read this and said, that's fine. And the director shot this and didn't stop to say, hold on, this doesn't make sense. The actor didn't say, just a minute, I don't understand my character's motivation. Charlton Heston didn't say, look, I know I'm only in a few scenes, but can't we come up with something better? I can maybe buy that they're misguided, violent people that are so wrong in the head that they worship a bomb and use psychic powers to kill people, but as soon as they start calling themselves pacifists, that's where I have to call BS. Killing people is violent, but forcing them to kill each other is peaceful? Really? By this line of reasoning, those rebels in Sierra Leone that give kids AK-47s and blindfold them and trick them into shooting unarmed civilians are amazing humanitarians. I myself am a vegetarian because I only eat cows that other people kill. And you know what, I'm going to break a cardinal rule of debate. I'm going to bring Hitler into this. Because really, when you think about it, Hitler was an amazingly peaceful man. I mean, he only created the policies which allowed people within his government to approve the creation of death camps where local authorities put millions of people into gas chambers. Hitler didn't kill those people, the gas did. What a load! Why are Taylor and Brent their enemies anyway? They're just refugees that happened to find their city. So yeah, fight scene. Hold on, let's see that maneuver again. The 70s were a different time. Nova happens to be nearby, and she bites her guard. And with his superior intelligence and superpowers, he's helpless to stop her. And that's when this happens. She is an animal! Look, I don't know why humans in this world are mute. Maybe their vocal cords aren't developed enough, or whatever. The point is, they're supposed to be the reversal of what is normal in our world. Apes are people, humans are animals. I mean, you know all those movies with animals acting like people? Like MVP, Most Valuable Primate? Do those movies have a scene where during a critical moment, that cute little chimpanzee speaks? I really doubt it. Because even in a comedy about a chimp playing on a human hockey team, that's just a little bit too stupid. And if Nova is physically capable of speaking, why does she never make a single sound until now? Does the sight of Taylor fighting somehow provoke her more than getting drowned or strangled, or when she saw him getting swallowed up by a mountain? How come she can't even make a noise before, and now she can sound out something as complex as a person's name? Anyway, this momentary distraction allows Brent and Taylor to kill their adversary. This probably wasn't anything malicious, But I'd just like to point out how funny it is that after all the fight scenes and chase scenes with Apes trying to kill Brent the whole movie, finally they introduce a black guy so he can be the first to die.